This is episode number 494 of the Health and Fitness Podcast, brought to you by InnerFight in association with Smith Street Paleo. Hop over to smithstreetpaleo.com and get involved in everything that's going on. So guys, if you're looking still for a big goal for 2019, then I might have something for you here. We've teamed up with Ultra X to give you a special rate on the races that these guys are organizing this year. They organize 250k 5-day races. It's a race series which are held in exotic and inspiring locations around the world, and they actually culminate with a biannual World Championships. It's super awesome, and I can vouch for this, that taking on a multi-day ultra in a far-flung corner of the earth is probably one of the greatest experiences that you can have. And now that Ultra X are making these experiences more accessible for all, it's definitely something that you should be considering for 2019. In this year, they have races in Sri Lanka, Jordan, Mexico, and they'll be adding 2 races to the series each year, with Bolivia and the Azores getting released in the summer of 2019. So if that really does sound like something that you are interested in, we have a discount code which will get you £200 off the races. You can hop over, have a look, ultra-x.co. The Sri Lanka race is the first race, which is on the 13th of April. You get £200 off using our code INNERFSL19. Go and check it out. Get involved. I'm looking forward to racing some of their races this year, and hopefully we'll see some of you guys there. Welcome back to another edition of the show, folks. This week, this show is all about you guys. We, every few months, get into your questions that we hear you asking us around and try and, I don't know, mate, come up with solutions. Come up with some solutions as to what's going on and exactly see if we can hit out of the park all of your questions. But, mate, before we start that, this weekend is going to be a huge weekend. We have the Dubai Marathon going on.
Yeah, we have a lot of people participating in it. Almost all staff is doing it.
Yeah.
Pretty much except me, because I'm traveling for another competition a few days later.
When do you go to South Africa?
That will be next Monday, and the race is on Friday for you guys. So we have pretty much the full staff hitting the Dubai Marathon, or the 10K at least, on Friday. That's going to be pretty cool. I know you and Tom are excited and really trained hard for this, so it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to go.
I'm quite excited to see how the staff have prepared, mate, because Tom wrote for them a marathon-specific program, and Friday will show us exactly who has followed that and who hasn't followed that. We're having a couple of little technical issues here with the mics, with the headphones at the moment. We're nearly into it. You go through all the tests before we start recording this, and then suddenly, once you start recording, it all goes a bit different. But everything looks good now. But yeah, that's something I'm interested in, mate, because Tom has done a program for all of the staff for this Friday's 10K and marathon. So that's obviously a big event. And why do I open with that is because a lot of people asked us sort of towards the back end of last year, do you think I should run in the marathon? Do you think I should run in the 10K? And how would I link that in with the CrossFit classes? And this is kind of a question that we've had, and I think we get asked the specific question on this. I've been running a lot but still try to get 2 to 3 classes a week. How should I approach these classes? And I think you've probably got some decent thoughts on that, mate.
Yeah, I think this is one we get really a lot, because we have a lot of those clients in our classes that also are part of the InnerFight running academy or running community that we've created together with Tom and Neil and you. So that's pretty exciting. But we still want to keep them in classes, and also because it really makes sense to have them in the classes.
Why?
Because the strength part they get from the classes really supports their running. And I think this is the missing link for a lot of people. And a lot of people improve running, they just simply focus on running only.
Right.
And this is not something we made up, and I mean, especially not me. I'm not a big runner or anything, but from all of the amazing runners we've had on the podcast, and we've had some world champions on, and they all say that one of the major differences in their training protocol is the strength stuff.
Yeah, I remember that from Tom Evans, who was third in Marathon des Sables. Actually, just had a little bit of bad luck on a race in Hong Kong last weekend, a 100K race there.
Rolled his ankle.
Pretty ugly. But he said one of the things that he attributes a lot of his success to is the fact that he does a lot of cross-training, and a show that we've actually already pre-recorded, which will come out in a few weeks. It's an absolutely awesome show with Gerda Stein, who is she's literally going to the Olympics, or she's hoping to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
She has like a 2:30 marathon. So that's something that, that is, she's a seriously good athlete. For those of you that are wondering when that's coming out, that'll come out on actually later in Feb, 28th of Feb, number 504. But she said one of the things, going back to the original point, she said one of the things that she attributes her success to is the amount of cross-training she does.
I think the key here for the clients that are running a lot and still want to get in a few classes is that they kind of organize it around their major runs. So in probably each running program, they'll have 1 or 2 runs that are really important and where they really need to perform or push hard, and would make sure that's separated from the day they do the CrossFit training, or at least don't do a CrossFit training the day before a big run or important run.
Yeah.
Keep it for either the day after if you feel recovered, or even a further day after that.
I think that's one of the most important things, mate, is you kind of need to be probably a little bit more organized. I know we only publish our workout the day before it's live, so tomorrow's workout would be 8 o'clock tonight on the website. But if you are on a running program, or if you're in another gym, then you should maybe just go up to the coaches, and anyone that comes to our coaches and says, okay, give us an idea, is Wednesday's workout going to be very leg dominant? So you can kind of program around that, and you can target. And I actually do it for a lot of my run clients that still want to come to the classes. I'll pick for them, so I know that on a Monday and a Wednesday, for example, that class workout is really going to suit them, and then I can program it in with their running. One thing, mate, and I'm keen to get your thoughts on this, is that a lot of people are asking, like, should I just come to the class but approach that particular class in a different way?
I think if you don't know what the class is and you do have a bigger run, if you haven't been able to organize the runs properly together with the classes, and it turns out that class you show up for the day before your big run is a big heavy hitter with plenty of running and a lot of leg dominant stuff, then I would maybe approach it slightly different. But again, I think it depends on also how serious is this running goal. Like if you're retesting your 10K at full speed the day after, then just don't show up to a class the day before. You know what I mean? Like in that sense, I don't think you need to approach it different. I just think it's about organizing the week so that it makes most sense.
I think one thing, mate, that we often speak about is, what's sort of the background in CrossFit, being prepared for, unknown and unknowable.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I think you used a really cool example there. If you want to PR your 10K in the Dubai 10K tomorrow, then obviously this week you take it a little bit easier. But if you've just entered, for example, the Rack Half Marathon's coming up in a few weeks' time, if you just entered that for a bit of fun, to run 21K, to be with your friends, then don't let that overtake the other stuff that's going on, like your strength training. So I think, I think sometimes what the objective of a particular race is, or what the objective of someone's training phase is, maybe sometimes is not defined and not clear to the individual. That's why we get a little bit of conflict as well.
And I think another thing, just like this is a little bit different, but it all comes down to how good your recovery is. Training volume is different for everyone based on how good their recovery is. So, like, you can, if you're super conditioned to train a lot, you can probably do a CrossFit class the day before and do your big day of training, of running the day after.
Right.
Like, for some people, that's not a lot, simply because they know they sleep 10 hours at night. They know their nutrition supports what they do. They have low stress at work, and therefore they will feel 100% for the next day.
Absolutely.
Now, if you have someone where they don't sleep too much, bad nutrition, or a lot of stress, then you actually really need to take that into consideration and how that's going to affect your training.
Absolutely. Mate, that segue is actually really nice into a question that we've got that says, you guys talk a lot about recovery, but I'm still lost. How much should I train that's obviously very subjective. And more importantly, which I know we can help here, is please share your recovery hacks. I'll answer the second part of the question. Can you answer the first part? How much should I train? A little bit of a difficult one there, obviously, mate. But thoughts on this, because obviously we do talk a lot about recovery. If you say, let's stereotype a little bit, mate, and say, you're working a pretty decently stressful or averagely stressful 9-to-5 job. You maybe have a family, you maybe don't, but the gym is your main source of fitness. What would be your sort of advice? Should people be here like every day? Should they be doubling up? Let's try and attack that bit. I know it's very dependent on goals, but just as quite a global, high-level bit of advice, what would you say to people when they say, how much should I train?
I think if you pick up a strength and conditioning book, the recommendation is 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off.
Right.
I think training 5 days out of 7 is a good number.
Yeah.
You can have 1 full rest day. I definitely think that no matter who you are, how good you are, and how serious you are, you should definitely have 1 day where you do not come to the gym, where you just fully relax, or fully relax for me is a walk is included in that. So right. You don't have to lay with your legs up and watch TV and all day, but
eat popcorn.
At least nothing that stresses your central nervous system and physically. So at least 1 rest day is the general recommendation, and then we'll have 1 day where it's a little bit easier. Yeah. And just be smart. Like, you don't lift heavy you don't do the same move. The main key here is that you be careful with movement overload. So like the same movement pattern, you want to be careful not doing that same movement pattern too many times throughout 1 week. Right. And that's both loading and volume, but general recommendation is just 1 day off and then 1 day easy.
It was interesting. We had Boz on the show last week. That's definitely a show that you should go and have a look at. It's a previous Thursday show, number 492. But what I want to pull from there, which we didn't really dig into a lot of detail about, is that she actually doesn't have a day off.
No.
What's your thoughts on that, mate?
I still think everybody needs a day off.
Yeah.
I know that on her program, she would have a day where she has like a 90-minute bike at very easy pace.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how easy this pace is. If she's staying in zone 2 at a super, super low heart rate, and the biking is obviously quite easy effort, there's no loading on the spine, there's nothing like that. Yeah. It's basically just some blood flow run through, but I don't, that could potentially work, and I also guess it depends on the training age of the athlete. Yeah. Carmen is quite an experienced athlete and has been training twice a day for 8 years, and she's probably conditioned to it, but I definitely still think that 1 full rest day just to get a mental break as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well, mate. Like just the fact that you don't have to get up and put on your training gear and get sweaty, and I quite like that.
Even if you don't want, even if you want to. Yeah, I think that's the key.
You have a choice.
Because then you're going to want it even more the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we go back to what we're talking about, if you are training in a class program, at our gym, at your gym, we're sort of looking for somewhere around, some people, like if we take Neil Bryans, he's been with us for almost 10 years. He's super happy with 5 days a week. He manages to dig a little bit deeper on a Thursday for a hard workout, and then he takes Friday and Saturday pretty much fully off. Yeah. However, we have seen some really good results, or we just see that a 3 on, 1 off, and then a 2 on and 1 off is actually beneficial as well. So for our program here, you do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, maybe rest on a Wednesday. You get Thursday therapy on a Thursday, and then a nice partner workout in the Friday class, and then Saturday off. I think that works. I think that works super good. And obviously, if your schedule is a little bit different and you want to start your week on a Saturday, then you do Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Tuesday off, then you do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. But I quite like that as well, mate.
I think I've heard someone say that there's no such thing as overtraining, only under recovering. And
Let's jump into that. Yeah,
that's a pretty good point, and it's a nice way to put it. Obviously, there's some general guidelines, but if we look at a pro CrossFit athlete might train 2-3 times a day. Yeah. For the regular gym goer, that sounds like the most craziest suicide plan ever. But these people might have amazing recovery and also much higher training age, and therefore can tolerate all of this training.
So what's going on? Because this is the second part of this question. Share your recovery hacks. Come on, mate. What are the secrets here?
I actually wrote an article on my website, andrehude.com, called The Importance of Recovery and the different tools that I know of and the one I've experienced with. The first one is obviously sleep, and you always have to try to get more sleep. More sleep is always a better solution. I think when you get above 10 hours, okay, then no.
I was going to say, what
I think the magic number is 8+.
Yeah.
If you can hit 8, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And the most important cue here is that you can't. It's not about accumulating sleep throughout the week. It's every night needs to be the same sleep hours. So you can't do sleep 4 hours 2 days in a row and then sleep like 14 hours in the weekend. It doesn't really work like that.
Although some people try and do it.
Yes.
And a lot of their sleep on the weekend might be during the hours of daylight, so obviously is not the time we're supposed to be sleeping. So a quick note on that, guys, is that if you're sleeping during hours of daylight, so on the weekend you sleep until midday or later than that, actually the quality of the sleep after it's gotten light, which is now here in Dubai about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, the quality of your sleep during that additional time is actually quite poor. So you need to be in bed. You're an animal. We've come from animals. You need to be in bed when it gets dark. So if you want to sleep more, get to bed earlier, which is a massive mistake we see when people try and do what you say. They burn the candle right down during the week and then they try and have these massive sleeps at the weekend. The recovery is not impacted.
So sleep is definitely the big number one. Number two would be nutrition. Make sure that's sorted out. Make sure you're sufficient with your supplements and you get all your vitamins and all of these things, because that's like the second most important thing for proper recovery.
What's your go-to concoction, mate?
I would honestly say that everyone would need a test to see what they're missing, but generally speaking, like magnesium, zinc, fish oil in the night, and then in the morning you can have vitamin C, B12. That's kind of what I go for, but everyone is different, like spirulina in the morning as well. Yeah. But you won't need to overthink it. It's quite simple in that sense. I would definitely reach out to a nutritionist at this.
Yeah, I think if you are struggling with, and this is one thing, like these recovery hacks that we're talking over, they're quite generic. If you are struggling with a specific sort of issue that, at a certain time you get tired, or you just don't recover from a certain type of workout, or you're getting colds a lot, or you're getting flu a lot, then that's the time to go and get some blood work done and look at where those deficiencies might lie and which supplement maybe will bring, which supplement you're deficient in, so where you really need to attack it the most.
There's actually one new supplement that I tried out and that I know some people have been using, and there's so much research on it. It's called ashwagandha. And it's made out of some Indian plants or something like that. And that if you wake up in the middle of the night, that's typically a sign of stress. And if you're on just ashwagandha, which is super natural, then that should help. And I've seen it help with different people. And so if you do wake up in the middle of the night to struggle to sleep, you should try this natural supplement. Yeah. So we've been through sleep, nutrition. The third one, I would honestly say that it's something that can lower your stress levels, and that can be meditation. Yep. It can be simple stuff like sun exposure. And then there's kind of like the rest. There's body work, like you can go get a massage, physio work, Epsom salt bath. Some people say it's a myth that it works.
Feels nice.
I
use them every single day during my marathons.
Exactly. And regardless if the Epsom salt actually works or not, I think a hot bath 30 minutes helps anyways.
Yeah. So. You always, I don't think there's many times, like I don't bath a lot, but there's not many times that you get out of a 30-minute bath at a nice temperature and don't feel a little bit more relaxed.
Exactly. And it's also a place where you can't really do anything else but just lay and relax.
You can check your phone, but don't drop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some more stuff. There's earthening, which is barefoot walk on grass.
Yep.
There's some... I don't think there's a lot of science behind this, but that is, again, like the Epsom salt bath, or that can just help calm you down.
But again, mate, I think if you think about that, especially this time of year in Dubai, maybe not so much in Europe or other parts of the world right now, but if you go out early morning, it's about 18 degrees, 20 degrees, you could have a barefoot walk along the beach. You could just have a walk along the beach at sunrise if you've got time to do that. Definitely, like on a recovery day, it would be something super cool to do. I guarantee you'll feel pretty cool about things. You know, it's just the time to maybe even leave your phone in the car unless you want to go and take some pictures, but just absolutely relax and just go for a walk. You'll feel pretty damn good afterwards.
I do this after every open workout. I get in the water.
Yeah.
I do water movement. I do the earth ring after for 20 minutes, and then I do Epsom salt bath and whatever rituals you like.
Yeah.
The last one that we haven't really spoken about is muscle stimulation, like Mark Pro, Compex, Power Dot, Normatec. And I think the reason why we haven't spoken about that one yet, and why I think that should be in the bottom of the list, I am actually not even sure if any science backs up that this stuff works.
I was going to say, do you use them, mate?
I have a Compex. I do bring it for competitions, but I think that's more just of a mental thing that I've actually never used it after a competition, but having it there and sometimes, this hurts or something feels sore, maybe it might help 1%, and I'll take 1% any day.
Yeah, of course. I think that's the thing. It's it's at the bottom of the list, and to be honest, this list is kind of, if you've done step 1, then go to step 2. If you've done step 2, now come to step 3.
Exactly.
There's no point in going, oh yeah, that sounds really nice to go for a walk along the beach. But if your sleep's not good, your food's not good, your hydration's not good, then the walk along the beach, it might do you good mentally, but it's physiologically not doing you really any good at all.
The 10,000 dirham Normatec or whatever is awesome to have, but it certainly shouldn't be a priority if all of the above are not working for you.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, we're still in January and everyone's still training, which is awesome, but how many people are still super focused on their diet? The old adage, you can't out-train a bad diet. It's similar for these recovery things. And, that's the funniest thing as well. I think we're quite used to being able to go out and buy different things. We could buy Compex, we can buy these supplements, but actually some of the best tricks to us, sleep is free. It costs you a little bit of time, which costs you a little bit of time management and planning. People generally work 9 to 6 or 8 till 7, whatever it is, so you've got quite a lot of time to fit in your sleep. I don't see why people shouldn't be sleeping around 8 hours a night.
And we're not just making this up, because every time we speak with someone who's top level athlete on this podcast, I always want to get their tricks, and the truth is they have no tricks. There's no I have this ritual, I do this, and then I lay with my right leg up and left, and I have stimulus on the right foot. Or most of them, they don't even use any of these things.
No, nothing, mate.
They just take afternoon, Gerda's main trick.
Yeah, afternoon nap.
Afternoon nap.
Yeah.
You're
when she feels
you're
tired.
one of the best runners in the world. The best trick you can give me here is take an afternoon nap.
It's crazy, huh?
You're maybe I shouldn't worry about all of these expensive tools. And just like Tom Evans, was the foam roller.
Yeah, he just loves the foam roller.
Yeah, just love foam rolling.
And that's it. Other stuff, obviously, hydration and nutrition, we speak about it a lot. But, the amount of people that I speak to that are not getting in enough water, and that's helping you to recover. Again, most places get water for free anyway from a water cooler, whether it's good water or bad water. Obviously, you should drink Volvic, but, that water is not costing you a lot. And you're sat at your desk all day, you just need to make sure that you get 2 or 3 liters in, and you start to feel good. We have people that will drink less than 500 mils of water a day, and then they're saying, I'm not recovering. That's why. So that's really, they're really some super decent hacks there about recovery, and also a nice little guideline there. So just remember that on your training, if you are just training to feel good, to get better in life, and you don't have any massive goals, you should be doing somewhere in the region of 5 days training a week. 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off is super nice if that works. If that doesn't work and you just like to train 5 days in a row, like we said there, Neil Bryan's, then just get that done. And for recovery, simplicity is definitely better. Mate, coming to another question we've had, and it also talks, a lot of these questions that we got today are actually about training. People are clearly thinking about how to structure their training for the year and sort of goals and what they should do. This question says, what do you guys think the best mix of classes is when it comes to specialty classes such as, here we have weightlifting, strongman, gymnastics. I know in other gyms they've got Metcon classes. How would people put it together? Again, let's start as just a general population, just your sort of average dude that's coming to the gym, or your very sort of 9 to 5er that's coming to the gym. What's your favorite mix for this, mate?
I would definitely say it depends on the goal of the client, but overall, I would like. I think if you're not wishing to compete too much and those kind of things, maybe going to the weightlifting class is not a main priority. I think gymnastics is definitely. It's not because I run the gymnastics, but I think gymnastics is number one you should come to because that teaches you body weight strength. And my rule of thumb is that you need to be strong with your own body before you can start worrying about lifting external objects. I think if you can't be in a handstand up against the wall, then you shouldn't be jerking your body weight overhead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if you can't do strict pull-up, then don't worry about like being super strong with a lot of other things, like cleaning a lot. And everybody's different in that sense, but I think from a safety perspective, longevity, nailing down the gymnastics is like key number one.
Yeah.
And it's also a fun session. You get to learn a lot of body weight skills that transfer over to a lot of other things. I think if you're super good at understanding how your body moves, you'll pick up all the other skills super easy. And we've seen that with the gymnasts who enter CrossFit and then they start, like Alex Smith, squat cleans 400 pounds. That's more than Matt Fraser. Wow. And he is lighter than him, and he definitely doesn't look like a guy who can squat clean 400 pounds. And he snatches also like solid numbers and could do that from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's 180 kilos.
It's just about to, about to calculate that down, just under 180 kilos. Yeah. That's incredible.
So just to say that, like, we see that with a lot of the gymnasts that comes into CrossFit, they pick up weightlifting super, super quickly. Yeah. And we also see it the other way around, don't get me wrong. Right. Weightlifters start learning gymnastics super quick. Yeah. But I definitely think for recreational athletes who are entering the sport at an older age, it's a lot easier to first, nail down all the skills with gymnastics and then after kind of build from there. Yeah. For me, the best mix would be to do 3 of those: the weightlifting, strongman, gymnastics, and 2 mainline classes. Yeah. I think the fun in CrossFit is that it's always constantly varied. Yeah, absolutely. And I think these 4 different class formats would definitely bring the most variety and best stimulus to you.
I think I'd be pretty much the same, mate. I always try and think, like, if I still had a 9-to-5 job, and I was sort of in this category that I'm just using fitness. I want to be as fit as I can. What classes would I come to at the gym? And I think I'd be very similar to what you've said there. I think I'd go 5 days a week straight, though. I think I'd go mainline class on a Sunday, especially recently because Matt's made it quite hard every Sunday. I'd definitely go to gymnastics on a Monday morning. Tuesday would be difficult. I think I'd be a bit naughty and I'd go track in the morning and then strongman in the evening just to get something a bit different. Wednesday, I'd probably do weightlifting. Thursday, I'd definitely do the class. Yeah. That's kind of how I think I'd balance it up. I think some of the reasons why people don't is because the feeling is different in a gymnastics class. Like on a Monday morning, you're going to do an hour of gymnastics stuff. There's going to be some pushing and pulling in there. That all related to gymnastics. It's going to be hard in a different way. Yeah. And I think people a lot of the time only measure like how good a workout they've had on how much they're sweating. But
which, I almost feel like it's our fault. Like that it's
sometimes
we don't educate them enough for like to not make people equal the amount of sweat with a good workout.
Yeah, exactly.
I have so many clients that tell me, but how many calories do you burn?
It doesn't matter.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. And sometimes the same thing, like we vary the weightlifting class up. Like some weeks it's very technique focused, and then some weeks like the last 10 minutes is just like it's all in. It's almost a workout, and Boz puts that in, so that's good. But we've sometimes done that to almost like move the technique into a high intensity environment and make the people feel like they've sweated. But I think that's definitely something, mate, that people need to get their head around a little bit. That I see a lot of people going from gymnastics to the mainline class, and it's like, okay, you've just done gymnastics, now you're jumping into mainline class, and you've just done a load of pull-ups in gymnastics, and now the strength part of the mainline class is also some pulling off the floor, be it a clean or be it a deadlift, no matter what. Is very similar, and it's actually you're bordering on overtraining straight away. And they're like, oh no, I want to do the conditioning piece, which also has pull-ups in it. It's like, they don't quite go. I think that's what I do. And I think sometimes, and we see this a little bit as well, mate. Like Wednesdays is a little bit quieter because people will do maybe track and strongman on a Tuesday, so they do need that day off, which goes back to what you were saying about 3 days on, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. But then you're missing the weightlifting, which obviously a lot of people like. At the same time, those weightlifting movements are coming in the class on a weekly or fortnightly basis anyway, so I don't think there's many weeks that go by that we don't have cleans in the class, and it's every 2 to 3 weeks where snatch comes up. So,
and I would definitely, based on how comfortable you feel with the movement, visit those classes you feel less comfortable with. So if weightlifting is a problem for you and it keeps coming into the mainline class, then show up for weightlifting. Get 1 hour, really learn how to do that movement properly.
Yeah.
And the same for the gymnastics.
Absolutely. Mate, moving on, we've got a few more questions before we wrap up here. And someone has said you guys have spoken a lot about changes in CrossFit. In simple terms, are you guys happy with the changes? So what people are talking about here is that regionals have been removed, sanctionals, which is a stupid word, has been invented, and that is the way that the competition is going to run now. So in simple terms, Andre, are you happy with the changes?
It's I think it's sad the regional's not there. I know that
I think so too.
That was such a cool competition, and everyone was scattered, and you can also get your family and friends to come, and it doesn't feel the same way about the sanctionals for now.
Yeah.
Let's see how it evolves. I think it's given a great opportunity in the sense that you can compete all year, or you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
So in case you get injured or something happens, then you can always just postpone your season to later on.
Yeah.
And you sort of have the full year.
I really like that point, mate.
Yeah.
Like, I see that as a massive... I think what you said, I love those 2 points you've made. Regionals was something that everyone just got all in on. Like, we'd take people from the gym, it'd be awesome. But isn't that going to now become sanctionals? Like, are people going to go to sanctionals to support? I think so eventually, but I think
so too.
I think it'll take time. I think what was really brutal about CrossFit and the way that the season worked is that if you got injured between the Open and regionals...
and games, like if you're that level, like there's 8 months where you need to stay on top, and if anything happens from January to August, then
you're in trouble.
You're in really trouble, and a lot of people had to compete through injuries, and that's
not cool.
No, and then you might not see the next season because they had to get several operations. Now, if something happens, people can pull out early, and it'll be like, all right, this sanctioned event I planned for, it didn't go as planned because I'm not feeling well. Good. Yeah. Let's focus on the next one. And we have now 16, 17 a year. So, and I also think from a sponsor perspective, maybe athletes can get better sponsorships as there's more events and basically more exposure for the brands and more events where Reebok doesn't own it or one company doesn't own it in that sense, which means the athletes can wear whatever they like. And like that, the athletes can get money from clothing sponsors or whatever they have. Sponsors that are paying them, which is good, so that the level of CrossFit can increase yearly. As the athletes can start, maybe not directly living off the sport, but at least get all their costs covered and stuff like that.
I agree with you, mate. I think we're very much on the same page there. It's a little bit sad that regionals have gone because everyone was so into it, but I think at the same time, I think after the sort of everything will calm down, then we'll be in a really good state. The weekend gone by, we saw one of the sanctional events, the second sanctional event, I think it was, mate, which was Wodapalooza. I spoke about this on the weekly update show. It looks like an absolute party down there in Miami.
It's the largest event in the world for CrossFit, I think, because they have something like 12 different categories. They even have adaptive CrossFit competition. So they have a category where people in wheelchair are competing. They have also a part where only standing, but one arm only working. So people are only have one arm, basically.
I was actually just reading there earlier on the Morning Chalk Up. If you are into all things CrossFit, Morning Chalk Up is where you need to go to get your information. It's like CrossFit's new media outlet after they fired all of their media staff. Well, that's apparently what happened. And it's how CrossFitter Steph Hammerman became Nike's first adaptive sponsored athlete. So she's obviously suffering with some with some adaptation or adaptive. She's got some disabilities, let's say. I'm not really sure what we're allowed to say, but as soon as it's my show, I'll say whatever. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And she's now sponsored by Nike, so it's super cool. Going back to Wodapalooza, we had adaptive RX scaled men, which was seated, standing, scaled seated, scale standing. Then we went to the elite men team, intermediate men. There was all these categories, but what we really care about, mate, and what we really need to give an update on is that 2 more athletes have, if you like, confirmed their attendance, punched their ticket, as everyone says, to the 2019 CrossFit Games. You've got the results for men. Who's going?
Patrick Wellner won, so he's going.
Canadian?
Yep, Canadian. Finished second at the CrossFit Games last year and the year before that.
Incredible performance from him all weekend, mate. His worst place finish was a 7th, and outside of that, he did not finish worse than 3rd. So he got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 7th, 2nd. That's dominating.
That's insane, and especially in that field, because it was stacked with CrossFit Games athletes.
Travis Mayer was there in 2nd place. Noah Olsen was there. They are some really big names. So Patrick Wellner will go back to the CrossFit Games on the women's side.
We had Tia Claire Toomey, who won. Also pretty dominant, like very dominant, actually.
This is a joke. She was 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 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 1st, 1st.
That's crazy. Carrie Pierce 2nd, Sarah Sigmundsdottir 3rd. 3rd again on this sanctioned event.
She's struggling a bit.
You know what?
What's
Everybody says that, and I'm like, what are you talking about? She finished 3rd 2 sanctioned events. Like,
right.
For me, that's not struggling. Yeah, like every competition, the chicks she's up against are also the best in the world, and a lot of things can like we don't know how the past 1 year of her training has looked like.
Yeah,
maybe she struggled with injuries, maybe something else. I think if you can find yourself in top 5 at sanctioned events like DCC and the Wodapalooza, then you're pretty much one of the best in the world because the best chicks are here.
Yeah, but mate, at the same time,
maybe she's not peaking.
Her goal is to win the cross. Well, why is she doing these competitions?
Training. I honestly think she's not peaking. I think it's
super interesting, mate. I don't think there's a.
This is honestly it's the same. Like I think what I know from Karma is that Elliot is not peaking for this, but it's great competition experience.
Well, and that's an interesting one because I just saw that Elliot Simmons went to the games last year, 12th.
But everyone above him is games athletes. You know what I mean? I don't think
but
that's
he's
bad.
a games athlete as well.
I know, but everyone below him is games athletes too.
Yeah.
So what I mean is that people are going to peak for different competitions, but that doesn't mean that you can't go and participate in competitions and get good experience, because to be good at the CrossFit Games, you need experience.
Yeah.
And you can't peak all year, so you got to pick a few where, like, this is your jam, and you go 100% for this one.
Super interesting, mate. I mean, it is very interesting. Sarah, obviously, one of her goals, and having had her here for sort of quite a long time at the end of last year, you know, her goal is to go back to the CrossFit Games, and she needs to qualify somehow to do that.
There's plenty of opportunities.
There's
she
a
can
lot
win
of
the Open in Iceland. She can be top 20 in the world.
Yeah,
like she's done that before. Like same for Carrie Pierce. She finished 2nd, but I'm pretty sure she finished like top 5 in the Open last year.
Yeah,
if she had just finished inside top 20 worldwide, she punches the ticket straight away. Maybe this is practice for her.
Technical question. If you're in the top 20 in the Open, and because I'm just thinking Sarah's from Iceland, Annie's from Iceland, so long as you're in the top 20, so there could be potentially 2 people from Iceland going.
Easy, yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah. There's a lot of like crossing, like if you win a sanctioned event, but you also win the Open, then the second one from the Open doesn't go because you won, but your sanctioned ticket goes. It's pretty complicated, but I know Armin Hammer, who's the other, like, together with Morning Chalk Up, kind of the media content guys for CrossFit now, has made, like, a pretty cool setup on how it kind of works.
We are going to dig into all things the Open and CrossFit Games as a focus topic on February the 7th, so we won't go into too much detail right now, but we're going to get more drill down into that. But very interesting, Wodapalooza, the second sanctional event of the season, first one of 2019. Dubai CrossFit Championships was the first last year. That's how it played out. We didn't have those results when we put out Sunday's show, but there you have it. Patrick Wellner and Tia Claire Toomey are off to the CrossFit Games. Both of them It's not their first rodeo.
And also a team.
And the
Run
team,
Watt and Whatever It Takes team, which was with Jamie Green.
yeah.
So
What's happening there?
I mean, I think it's just their sponsors told them to do the event, and they probably wanted to as well. So they did a team of 4.
Yeah.
Jamie Green, Jessica Griffin, who's also a Games athlete, I think.
Right.
Cody Mooney, Games athlete.
Super team.
And Alex Smith, Games athlete. So they're probably not going to accept their ticket, so the second team will go. But the second team was the CrossFit Invictus, and they already punched the ticket.
So then,
So I think maybe the third team, Misfit, will go, but I'm not.
Interesting to see how that's going to roll down if Misfits get it. We will do more research and have more answers for you in the next show that we're going to do, which is all about the Open. That's coming at you in 2 weeks' time. There are a couple of questions that have come in, mate, that I just want to hit quickly before we finish up about the Open. Someone asks, and these are pretty quick to fire off, how do I know if I'm good enough to sign up for the Open?
You are, regardless.
Good.
There's always scaled, and we can scale it even further down.
Yep.
Make sure you come. We're going to do a huge thing every Saturday for all the members. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So you should definitely sign up.
Do it. And should my training change coming into the Open? We spoke earlier about gymnastics classes, weightlifting. What's your thoughts?
I think, yes. I think you need to look at the movements that are coming in the Open, and we know, especially gymnastic-wise, there's going to be toes to bar, handstand push-up, pull-ups, even chest to bars.
Yeah.
Even big chance to have ring and bar muscle-ups and handstand walk.
Yep.
Just make sure you have down, the basics, or you're at least working on them so you won't be disappointed.
Especially if you're almost there on those movements. Some of those movements might have put a couple of people off when Andre's talking about bar muscle-ups, ring muscle-ups. But if you're nearly there, that's going to make the difference of you being able to complete the Open RX and having to drop down and do the scale one. So, yes, there should be a little bit of a change in your training, just focusing on the things. There's going to be double unders. I can tell you there's going to be wall balls, box jumps. We've seen all of these movements before. If you're worried or if you're thinking about what movements you're going to have, ask your coach. They will tell you the movements that come up. And finally, mate, which classes should I do during the Open? I think maybe we should save this one for the show. And for the show that we're going to do specifically on the Open. It's not something that's super important right now, but someone did ask which classes should I do during the Open. But we will give you a full rundown of how the Open is going to work, how you register, how you validate your score in the show on the 7th of Feb, 498. So we'll get through all things the Open then as a focus topic. For next week's show, please check it out, number 496. It is with a guy, Johan Steen, who ran for 68 hours, got into a state of complete psychosis. Absolutely incredible story. He won recently the Big Backyard Ultra. That's a massive plug for him. Next Thursday, the 31st, you can check that out. But for this week, mate, that's 41 minutes. Boom. More than enough. Thanks a lot for tuning in, folks. Andre, as always, very good to chat. Hopefully we got through a lot of your questions there, folks. I think we got everything that we got in. If you do have more questions, let us know, and we'll do another question show in 6 weeks. For this week, thanks a lot for listening. Have an awesome week.